It is time for Game 3 of today's broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, here in HGC China. The studio is still looking good, just like our Chinese colleagues. And, of course, Tetra and I, still there, still kicking it. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We have had some great games today. The A-Team causing an upset, as did RPG. And the RPG, they have a chance to gain even more points now as they go up against Team Nut.
And that is the turning point, I think, at which we will determine how much of progress RPG has truly made, or where they're going to fall back into this old habit of looking good on this one game and then looking terrible or not so good in the other one. Team Nut, they are known as, I would say, the King Slayers at this point. They were able to take a map of BTG before, just like the team they're about to face here. In fact, RPG was more successful than... Wait. Can we just... Wait, so which game are we going to have now?
Wait. Let me actually check the schedule.
Yep.
It's supposed to be RPG Team Nut right now.
Is A-Team really going to play 2 series in a row?
I doubt it. I'm trying to see in the back line if I'm trying to see in the background if I can see like
let's check the players here
or something.
Can't
see.
Can't really make out any of the players up to this point. They're too well hidden. They're behind that glass window.
Right in the way. Come on now. Yeah, this that would be weird making them play 2 in a row. Not unheard of, but weird.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, you're inflicting physical pain onto them just for playing Heroes of the Storm. But I really think it's going to be A-Team versus KT now, because why else would they have changed, you know, the background settings?
But they changed it, excuse me, midway. It's the next series after this one. Oh, well, I guess it is then.
All right.
Yeah, there's
KT
A-Team.
Right, it is. I'm not going to complain about that.
I don't know what's happened to the Team Nut RPG then, but... looks like we're going to have KT versus the A-Team right now.
All right, KT it is against the A-Team. Now, similar question here, Tetra. Can the A-Team repeat the performance of Game 1 against SBT that we just saw? Or are they going to fall back into this weird phenomenon of, you know, not really being able to play well consistently? And I think it's safe to say that at this point, if there's one problem that China as a region struggles with right now, it is consistency. You would never see these performances from a team like Genji in Korea.
I would agree with that. Consistency definitely seems to be a thing. Maybe RPG, for example, should just be changing their name to RNG. They just seem to be a random number generator. If it's odd, they play well. If it's even, they don't. But let's talk about the match we are about to see. The A-Team, they just came off a 1-1 versus SPT, a pretty impressive performance. And yesterday, they were able to score they got 0-2'd by the 1, whereas KT, looking at them, they yesterday were able to score a 1-1 versus RPG, and then lost 0-2 to CE.
All right, Tetra, do you make out any clear favorites coming into this series? Because I think for the first time today, it's not like on paper where you have a Titan, like Beyond the Game and SBT, fighting a Dwarf, like RPG or... the A-Team earlier. Who would you say comes into this series as a clear favorite? Or do we even have a favorite to begin with?
Considering the A-Team already took a game against SPT, I think they're probably coming in as the favorite. They're also quite warmed up. So I could definitely see that coming in here as a victory. KT, like we said, they did score 1-1 versus RPG, but they might be demoralized after what was a pretty decent victory by CE yesterday.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for that first draft of this series. Can't wait to see what these teams have in store for us. Diablo, oh man, you just want to take that away from Itskuk today.
I mean, that's fair. It was incredibly effective in the previous series. This is going to be something good for KT. They come in with the prior knowledge of seeing that previous series.
Yep, definitely true. We have Infernal Shrines ready and locked in. Are we going to see more prioritization on the Alexstrasza? At this point, I'm not even sure what to feel about a white man anymore. With Diablo being gone, though, I think that's one hard counter basically taken away. So it would actually make sense to pick her now again. She did do a lot of work, but nope. China likes their dragon, and they're going to go for that.
Yeah, there is the Alexstrasza picked up very early here. So now the A-Team, they should probably be picking up the Deckard. The anti-heal is just so effective against the Alexstrasza. So Deckard Kane and then probably Yarel or Garrosh or something along those lines.
Yeah, Deckard Kane is a given here unless they have other plans in terms of what they go for with the support. And I mean, they're going to counter that Alexstrasza super hard right now. Not just with the Deckard Kane anti-healing from the Emerald Cube, but also the Concussion Mine. You know, knocking people off the Abundance Circle, even knocking away the Alexstrasza Dragon Queen to buy a couple of precious seconds. And it is Timeless's Johannem, man. That looks good to me.
That is going to be potentially very good, especially if you combined it with that Malthael that they've been using pretty much exclusively with Tormented Souls, with a very odd occasion they're going for the last rites. So Johanna pulls them in, Malthael just burns them down with that damage over time from the Reaper's Mark.
Very true. If they can actually do that without Junkrat having, you know, a little bit of mayhem to put into that combo, Hilton just keeps getting banned every single time against the A team. None of our teams here in China is brave enough to let the Demon Hunter go through.
And as such, with the Illidan banned away, what are we going to see from the A team? They still need a solo laner of their own, someone to duel against Malthael. They could put Junkrat up there, but it's a little bit rarer that we actually do see that.
Tyrael and Thrall. Okay. More shielding against Malthael. The Sanctification is actually one of the oldest counters to Tormented Souls, and even to Last Rites to a certain extent, if you can time it extremely well. So, it used to be back in the days, you know, I remember those metas when we had Lucio in there with that sound barrier. There were a couple of heroes who could counter Malthael really well when he was considered one of the top-tier heroes. But even now, Tyrael fares surprisingly well against his Angel in Crime.
The KT coming in once again. Bad likely going to be on that hero. Put on quite the show for us last time he was able to play it. And of course, it is a great tool. If you can time it well with the end of Sanctification, you can get a great snipe with it. And there we have Hanzo, someone who can try and maybe outrange Kael'thas if he can get a good wraparound. Someone who's very mobile, hard to lock down. Very cool pickup.
But that means it's a solo tank Tyrael now for the A team. No other frontliner there to support him. Now, this could sometimes lean towards a Judgment if you really lack the lockdown otherwise. Judgment into Dragon's Era could also be very dangerous on heroes like, let's say, Kael'thas. But then again, they've got the bunker as well. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a Sanctification nonetheless. But it's actually much harder to execute good Sanctifications when there's ranged heroes surrounding you everywhere. And you're actually going to have to dive back with an Eldrin's Might sometimes to reach them in time. So I'm not sure if I like that position that the A-team has maneuvered themselves into, but we doubted them before, and KT is far from being unbeatable right now, so maybe they can pull it off this time.
Maybe they can indeed, but will it work out? I really do like KT's Kael'thas, so I'm putting a little bit of faith in that. But like we said, the A-team, they came off a very good victory early on. They have some great AoE on their side. This could still be a solid game by them. We are getting ready to head into game number 1.
Yeah, and high expectations I do have for this series because theoretically both teams should face one another at relatively even power levels. And can this double fire, triple fire if you will, with Alexstrasza composition from KT reign supreme here against a very poke-heavy, a very ranged-heavy composition in from the A-team? That we're going to find out here on the left-hand side. Joining forces here on Infernal Shrines, it is Kudos top with TWT, Kiaru, Lotus, Timeless, and Bad.
And on the right, it is the A-team with LK, Olele, Bruiser, Stugos, and Yeetskook.
Yeetskook really likes his Diablo Warriors today, doesn't he?
I mean, you can't blame him. He does put on quite the show with them when he gets that opportunity. But we do have a minion block attempt coming in from KT here. We've seen them try it before, and it hasn't been that successful. Let's see how well it works this time.
Of course, the goal of this maneuver is to basically keep your minions to as close as possible to your own structures, so you will actually bait the enemies into, you know, exposing themselves a little bit. Virtually does nothing. It looked good, though.
And as level 1, we are seeing the self-heal for Tyrael, not going for the Justice for All, and it's Bouncy Bouncy coming in from the Junkrat. So whenever his grenades hit a bit of terrain, not the floor, just when they bounce off walls or anything, they do a bit of bonus damage.
That is cool. Actually, the talent would be way more viable if it actually applied to the ground bounces too as well.
That might be a bit broken. That would be so easy to land.
All right. Anyways, with that Junkrat wave clear, A-Team is currently dominating those rotations. They're much faster than their opponents. Kiara, in the meantime, should have a relatively easy time against Thrall in the early game. There's very few heroes that can truly bully out a Blaze. The exception being maybe Phoenix and Leoric.
We can see the camp being taken out by KT, at least for the moment. This is actually going to be an additional glow for Kael'thas, so always value there.
Yeah, certainly you always want to get that value in. For the Mana Addict, you want to get that shield as quickly as humanly possible, so you're a little more resilient to those Tyrael Thrall engages. To this point, as you said, Tyrael going for the Salvation at level 1, stronger shield on himself, and also gets a little bit of health back when that shield expires or gets broken. And I like that call. I mean, you have to look at the roster of the draft here from the A-Team, right? We mentioned this. Tyrael usually probably exposed all by himself there. None of the ranged heroes like Hanzo, Junkrat, Decker Kane will be in his vicinity all the time. So the Justice for All probably gets much less value than, let's say, in a full melee composition, right? Where you have another frontliner, a melee assassin in there who would almost always be close to Tyrael.
So we do see the Blaze Thrall lane just very chill coming in here. Wolfpack, by the way, once again coming in for the Thrall.
Yeah, not going for the cooldown reduction at level 4, which is usually a talent that we're used to seeing more with Crash Lightning, because you really, really want to have your lightnings up a little more frequently. But with Echo of the Elements having a second charge in the first place, you don't even need to go for that cooldown reduction too much. I still think it's a great talent, though. Don't get me wrong. The Mana Tide, still worth taking, but you know, Wolfpack if you landed, and if you're very diligent with aiming your Feral Spirit, definitely a good choice.
Lele ports back. Going to make sure he is sustained in time for this first objective, which will be spawning in 2-1-0. And KT take the aggressive position, but the A-Team already marching in with Hanzo a little bit late.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm actually fascinated to see Bruiser make such a confident move there into Johanna, into Blaze. Well, shields go down here in Itzcook. He's trying to save a little bit of health here. Keep in mind that Alex Strauss at any given point could pull the trigger on the Dragon Queen, and here it gets used already. The A-Team doesn't seem to be very keen on fighting through this, so they're backing off immediately, and they're probably going to let this first Punisher go through 33-7. Yep, there's nothing the A-Team could have done there.
With that, KT, how much value can they get from this very quickly captured? It's not so much early, it's just they were just in full control from start to finish, so they were able to burn through the AoE super fast.
Yeah, Punisher taking a little bit of a detour there, running actually away from the enemy base because he wanted to get that last minion in there. Beautiful pull, not really much damage is going to be dealt onto this fort, I believe. Taos, however, might fall here with that, with the help of these arcane turns and the damage coming in from KT as well.
And very little of a push. The tower still being a little bit of a pain with no minion wave here to tank it for them. So as such, Punisher will get crazy fort damage, but they're not able to take down the fort in its entirety. Unless the Arcane Sentinel gets very lucky.
Saw these maneuvers by Tyrael here, by the way. When he's just, you know, trying to zone out enemies, when he's trying to pursue them a little bit so they won't be able to just continue pushing like that. These maneuvers cost a lot of mana, and they don't have anything to restore mana, for example. They don't have Malfurion with Innervate. So every time Tyrael is making these plays, he's going to have to be very, very careful not to run completely out of mana. He only has one healing fountain charge, and he can't afford to just teleport back to base every single time. So right now, you will actually see Itzcook probably play very carefully, not using Eldrin's Might or Smite onto these minions, because he needs to get a little bit of mana back.
He's going to just drop an Eldrin's Might to try and poke down Bad, but was unable to land it. Now rotates to his team as they do need to be careful because Living Bomb will spread if they're not careful. Everyone takes a little bit of damage. Itzcook is holding the line for the moment, but Bad taking damage on the backline. Olele's been a far more than he can chew, though. He will get taken out. Well, now Itzcook in serious danger. One Living Bomb, and this could be a massacre, but instead it's just going to be Tyrael taken out.
Malthael takes a little bit of damage from Tyrael, but he tanks through it. And that's exactly what I've been worried about here. Tyrael not proving to be tanky enough, but the bigger misplay, in my opinion, actually happened from Orlele there on that Hanzo. An extremely aggressive natural agility into the backline of KT. And I don't think he expected Bat to already have Mana Addict ready, right? Because that shield really helped him out big time.
I mean, he very nearly won the 1v1 anyway, so it's something that we do see from Hanzos now and again, where they just try to go for that quick blow-up and outplay, because something he can do if he lands a multi-scatter arrow. But in this case, wasn't able to do it, was shut down.
All right, and with that momentum built now for KT, they're trying to steal away another Mercant. Here goes a concussion mine onto Lotus. Failing, though, to get the isolation that they were looking for. And here comes the first, last rites. Angel kills Angel. And Tyrael is no more here. Getting bullied around and kited as well. KT just on a whole nother level in this early game.
Yes, they are looking very strong. Moving on in here. Trying to put some more pressure onto the mid lane, at which they will finally finish off the fort. Timeless able to take that down. And the A-team on the back foot, moving back into a more defensive position, as the objective will be spawning in 30 seconds, so maybe they can try and make a comeback here.
Sun King's Fury online, by the way, for Kel'Thuz, and in that last bottom fight here, we actually saw the value from that bonus damage whenever they spread out to many heroes or multiple heroes of the enemy team. So do not clump up too much unless you have your Sanctification ready. But Tyrael is debating, is keeping his heroic ability hidden up to this point. Probably won't take it before the next team fight to cause a little bit of confusion and a little bit of mind gaming here for their opponents.
Quite possibly, but for now, Yeetskook once again eats a fair amount of damage. Drops an Eldoran's Might so he can leave if he has to, which he does very quickly after eating a hit or two.
Earthquake.
Bruiser trying to sneak around the side. Like you said, the Earthquake is down. Dragon Arrow does not land. That is terrible news for the A-team, as the Riptire also gets denied.
So many heroic abilities are completely whiffed, as you said, Tetra. You know, missing Dragon Strike, not really connecting with the Riptire there, and that was a good Sanctification to keep Thrall alive for now. But look at the health bars. KT, they're just waiting for that to expire, and then they're going to reinitiate. They're going to drop some more damage onto Tyrael as well, and I don't think the A-team can afford to fight for this any longer. Look at those. KT is completely unharmed. That was a good concussion mine, though.
The concussion mine, they're trying to move forward. 34 to 28. Scatter Arrow not landing on the target they want at all, and that is going to be the second Punisher going over to KT. Now, they have to back up and they have to stay safe, because if this Punisher locks someone down enough, then there might be some last rites stacks.
Absolutely true. Last rites is definitely ready. Tyrael immediately dashing to safety with that Eldrin's Might. And Timeless, man, he's just that stalwart defender, completely untouched for the most part in those team fights, because all the enemy team has really is long distance poke, and Johanna, you know, with that Laws of Hope, with the blinds on heroes like Hanzo, she can prevent so much of the damage being dealt by those pokey heroes.
Yeetskook, he's holding it. Nice little Eldoran's Might to bait the Punisher over the wall without getting stunned. Very well executed there. But now, what can they really earn from this, as they Punisher will be taken out on the keep. And KT looks like they just once again guarantee another fort, with top fort so low that they can probably snipe that without too much difficulty. This is just going well for KT. It's a slow game, but they've got everything they need to at this point.
That they do. In terms of structures, though, it's starting to look mighty grim here for the A-team. If you look at the experience, they're just as well. And is that really the A-team that defeated SPT in a solid game there on in game 1 when they faced them? Or is that the A-team that just has some difficulties when it comes to making these rotations and macro decisions?
Excellent question. Right now, it's looking much like the latter of those two. But KT, they are putting on quite the early game show at this point, as they look to put even more pressure onto all the lanes, with 3 Impaler camps currently pushing into the A-team. So that's going to give KT enough freedom to move top, and that's going to guarantee this last fort.
By the way, can we just highlight how cool of a combo Exposed Sins on Johanna and Kel'Thuz Flame Strikes are? Like, if that combo goes down with that additional damage coming in from Johanna and that Sins Exposed talent at level 4, that could be so much damage. Just wait for level 16 as well with Ignite, which is probably the choice we're going to see here, as the cooldown reduction already comes in on Kaltha's level 13 talent. I'm really happy to see the Kalthas working out much better this time, because for the most part, it wasn't necessarily the hero that doesn't get any work done. It was more like the Chinese teams not knowing how to properly execute him.
Dragon Arrow comes
Holy
in,
ground,
the
locking them
chance
in.
for a turnaround, but there's so many low members. Last rights kills off the roll. Sanctification for the chance of a turnaround, but Stugos is just dying to the Phoenix here. Gets off a health potion, keeps himself alive, but Alex Draza moving into position. Flame Strike picks up the kill, and now it's all about LK, who's trying to get himself an angle for freedom, waiting for Concussion Mine to come off cooldown, but he goes down.
Tetra, A-Team's team composition is so weak in terms of lockdown, in terms of making damage happen, that this was a straight up 4 versus 5 when the initiation happened. Tyrael's Holy Ground was nice to prevent the flight path, you know, towards their base, but there's just nothing that they could have done afterwards. There was just not enough damage to actually tank through or to pierce through that Alex Strasser healing, KT with that shield. Johanna is a tanky beast in the first place. So I'm starting to get really worried there for the A-Team, and the fact that they're down 2 levels now is not really going to help because of those scaling changes as well.
So now then, with the A-Team, they've tried pretty much everything they can. They've still got 30 seconds until Sank is up, and that's the one tool they need to have any chance of turning around. KT are going to have full control of a talent lead, level lead. This is almost certainly going to be another Punisher for KT.
Yeah, and they have, quite frankly, the better Shrine Clear there as well with Kalthas. Look at that combo. Another one is locked in here for that last rights. That must be 3 or 4 stacks up to this point. Look at that bunker. Just chilling in here, getting that additional armor against the Riptire, if the Riptire even connects at all. But even if it does connect, Alex Strasser in that Dragon Queen form is like shrugging it off and just healing it off with one more ability.
Yeah, all the Riptide even does is kill the bunker here.
Yeah.
It does a little bit of team damage, but nowhere near enough. Sank's off cooldown, but it's too late with Thrall dead. That's going to be another Punisher coming in for KT, and with the Fallen Shamans pushing in top lane, they're going to push in with this Punisher in mid and try and grab themselves a keep.
Decker Kane didn't even get to use Stay a While and Listen there. I think he was just out of position from start to finish. He was busier keeping people alive because everyone was taking so much pressure damage that he wasn't even in a chance, in a position to lock the enemy team members down here. And in a bad case scenario, he's actually going to drop it into a bunker when people are inside, so that's not going to give him any value. Johanna has the Iron Skin as well to prevent it from happening. So from start to finish, no matter which team member you're looking at for the A-Team right now, they're all struggling big time. Especially that guy.
Yeah, Thrall down again. Bruiser having a very rough game, and with this keep going down, KT will likely back up here, but they could try and make for a play, but with only one person down, it's still a little bit too risky.
Yeah, good decision making. You know, it's still relatively early into that game, 13 minutes and 37 seconds. There's only so much you can hope to achieve. Punishers are not necessarily known to be the most reliable weapon when it comes to, you know, storming the enemy core. They sometimes tend to get distracted by either attacking other structures or enemy players. So they're just playing it safe. They can take this lead and carry it all the way through level 20 and then come back with their better scaling Punisher later on.
So here we go, KT. Like you said, they can play it safe, they can play it patient. They're still just going to grab everything on the map. Once again, triple Impaler Camp, very familiar coming in here. And they're going to just move into bot lane with theirs, because they know mid lane is the lane that has to be defended by the A-Team. So bot lane is the lane they can gain max value on.
Look at that, Thrall even going for the Thunderstorm Tetcher. Not really relying on the Alpha Wolf, which is something we've seen before. But, you know, just trying to have even more poke damage done. Tyrael gets absolutely saved by that Sanctification.
Yeah, this Dragon Arrow was also pretty good. Riptide, decent damage this time, as Lotus takes a good amount of damage as well, but the bunker is in the perfect position, and everyone's able to disengage.
Yeah, really cute retreat by KT, wasn't it? I mean, that could have really been that one turning point in which the A-Team on even talents, they find that good angle. They bait so many cooldowns onto Tyrael, who then survives in a Sanctification. But without them, you know, really being able to kill someone, that was basically worth nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely their best fight. They actually got a really good Riptire off, as we already said. Dragon Arrow was good, Tyrael survived, and they still gain no value. They're going to finally try and get their Fallen Shaman camp, and in the meantime, again, push in mid, push in bot. KT just gaining value all over the map, putting the pressure on, going to keep the A-team as close to their base as possible.
Tetra, I think Timeless is already starting to get reckless. He's like, there's no action happening, guys. We need to make something happen. We need to go in.
And even if they do go in, I doubt it would go that wrong for them at this point. That's how far ahead they are. But you are right. They should be at least a little bit cautious, be patient with their engages. They move up. They clear this Fallen Shaman camp. Theirs is already available, so they can grab that in time for the objective as well.
Be patient, young Timeless. This is not our time yet. We just need to wait for that level 20. Storm Tier Talents, they're trying to make something happen then. Let's actually check out what they're going to get at level 20. Probably the Ancient Red Blessing, maybe, for Alex Ross. It could have also been the on Ruby Wings, if they want to go for more team fight value. Here comes the fight. Easy Dragon's Arrow dodge, though, by KT. Timeless intercepting that one. Super good to see.
Riptide does some damage. TW is going to take a tiny bit of damage, but we'll heal up that very quickly. As we do see, once again, KT cleaning out the mercenary camp pressure, which, like we said, was stolen by the A-team. Chasing Kiaru, trying to gain a kill on an isolated target, but that dash was too good, especially with that fuel leak to prevent the chase.
Sucks when you don't have any stuns, right? To intercept a blade,
yes,
a blaze.
Yes, it does. So then, KT moving on to the point. And, well, they're going to get it, quite frankly. The A-team miles away from level 20. There's no way they can really intercept that. All they can really do is hide in their base, except the keep is probably gone, and try and not lose the core.
All right, bunker upgrade available for Blaze. We see on Ruby Wings indeed from Alex Strasser. So she now needs to hit 8 members, whether it's enemies or allies, doesn't matter. And then she will have her Dragon Queen ready again, basically.
A-team grabbing any value they can. Like we said, just getting rid of this Impaler camp. There's another one in bot lane. Hanzo's going to get that. But they better start porting, and they better start porting fast if they want to save their core here. As the Punisher's already on the way. KT doing some preliminary damage here. If they live, these Impalers could get some serious value and give the A-team some good comeback experience. But it's going to be rough for them.
Pull it over. Tyrael's trying to tank through. He doesn't even use his Eldrin's Might to jump away. Didn't even have the time to use Sanctification. That was probably a misplay that cost them the game. Right here, right there. Without the front laner, they cannot keep KT contained. So the way you want to play it usually, guys, is you drop the Eldrin's Might behind you, then you bait it over the wall, the Punisher that is, and you immediately use the Angelic Flash to get to safety. But you do not, under any circumstances, try to let that Punisher stun you, because from there on, it's going to be a stun chain. They're going to blow you up with that Malphite as well. And just like that, A-team is very likely going to lose that game number 1 here.
Yeah, with the greatest of ease, KT move on to the core and take it down. Game number 1 going over to Kudos top. The A-team looking a little rough, although they finally get some kills at the end of the game.
Yep, and that's going to be that one here. There's a full HP Blaze, so even if the entire team were to wipe, they would have still had enough damage. So as it is, KT with a flawless performance here. I really got to give it to them. I mean, we had our doubts about the draft of the A-team, and the execution of their draft was even sloppier than we anticipated. But still, it takes a lot of skill and a lot of, preparation to play that well, just like KT did. So, easy 1-0 in terms of, in favor of KT. What happened, Tetra, if they were to walk away with a 2-0 in terms of points in the standings?
The KT, 1 second. I've lost that tab. There it is. If KT walk away with a 2-0 in the standings, they won't even overtake the A-team. The A-team are on 7, KT are on 3. So it will mean that they move to 1 point behind the A-team. And they do, once again, still have multiple series to play.
Oh, yeah, it's 7-3. There we go. Yep. So 3 points for a victory, guys. If you win 2-0, they're going to be at 6 points then, obviously, which is 1 point away from the A-team. But still, that's a first step to making some good progress in the standings overall. Now, it really seems to me that the A-team is trying out a couple of things here that have no solid foundation whatsoever. We've had our reservations against against Tyrael's solo tanking capabilities. It looked to me like he was not even threatening a single hero in the entire game, especially when there's only a Thrall as a potential follow-up. Maybe if they had, let's say, someone like a Blaze, someone like a Leoric with an Entomb, they could have made so much more done.
I agree. The Oregon Tomb, I think, would have been better than the Thrall, although I did like some of the Earthquake plays. It was never enough. At least a Sundering might have given them some turnaround potential, but I don't know. I think that was just such a dominant performance from KT. It's really hard to speculate any one key thing that went wrong for the A-team, as pretty much everything went wrong. They couldn't engage, they couldn't fight, they couldn't sustain. They just really struggled. It was too much of a lead for KT.
And quite honestly, I think it was also the wrong map to go for this solo Tyrael style. Maybe on Cursed Hollow, it could have been a different story, because Cursed Hollow, you actually have more time to, you know, really get that Tyrael rolling by ignoring a tribute in the early game, for example. You could just come back later. Also, there's way more choke points available on that battleground for Tyrael to really get massive value from his slows, from his holy grounds later on as well. So yeah, maybe on a different battleground, that too could have been a factor. But as we said it, Tetcher, when was the last time we even casted